If you're watching this video, you're probably aware that your life is not as good as it could be if you don't have a solid social circle, but you probably have no idea just to what extent that this is actually harming your life or actually holding you back from the potential that you could have. Now, probably what you're most aware of is that you feel bored and you feel lonely sometimes, right? Which kind of sucks. But there's actually a lot more to it than that. And you might be aware of too, like the lack of business opportunities, the lack of networking opportunities. You've probably heard the praise that your network is your net worth. And if you don't have much of a network, then that's cutting into your net worth. But this is opportunity cost. That is things that you're not getting. So it's hard to really know what it is that you're not getting, like what it is that you're missing out on because you don't have it. Like, it's like if you were blind, if you were born blind, you wouldn't know what you're missing out on by not being able to see. Like, you know that you're missing something, but you don't know the extent of it. It isn't real for you. And the same is true with it lacking a social circle. You don't know how massive your potential would be, like how much enormously better your life would be if you had this, because it's like you're born blind. You've just been without this your entire life. Now, that may not be the case for everybody. Maybe when you were in college, you had a killer social circle and you were the life of the party and you knew everybody and like life was amazing. So if that's the case and now that's dropped off and you don't know how to replace that, well, you're probably in a significant amount of pain as a result of it. But I want to talk about, not only is it you feel lonely, not only is it do you miss out on opportunities that are completely foreign to you because, I mean, you can't see what's not there, but also your mental health suffers. If you feel a kind of, now, let me step back a little bit and talk about what it's supposed to be. Now, our modern societies, especially if you live in a big city, is completely disconnected from the way that humans are essentially adapted to, what we were created for. And what we were created for is small tribes of generally like 100 to 150 people, and that's who you lived around. And naturally, you knew everyone in your tribe, and everybody had a close relationship, and you had each other's back. Well, if you live in a city of like a million or more people, then, or even if you live in a town, like I don't live in the city, I live in a town of I'm not sure how big it is, but it's like 50 to 100,000 people, something like that. Even that is just like way bigger than my monkey brain can wrap my head around. And it's like, if I go out to the grocery store, or if I go out to downtown, or if I go out to a restaurant, 95% of the time, I don't see anybody that I know. Except, like, maybe the people that work in those places if I go there frequently, but, like, you don't just randomly run into people that you know on the street, and I don't even live in a big city, I live in a town. Maybe it's big by town standards, but doesn't quite qualify as a city. So this is a very unnatural situation compared to the vast majority of human history, which is what we are adapted to. So what ends up happening is that, and this isn't all bad, there are advantages to that, right? Like there's advantages to having lots of people around you, and you have a whole bunch of restaurants that you can go to, and like a whole bunch of more specialization in the economy. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, like 100%, but what it means is that if you don't find some adequate replacement for that, like you don't have within your big city a tribe of a small number of people that you have close relationships with, if you do not have that, then you're going to be just constantly feeling as its underlying feeling of anxiety. It's like you're in this giant jungle of people, like tons and tons of people, but they're all strangers. And you don't really know anybody. You don't really have anyone to hold to watch your back. And that is really unnatural for the human experience. And it's really scary for the human experience. It's no wonder that so many people suffer from anxiety, because so many people are in this exact situation. And even successful people, a lot of times, and if you're very self-aware, you probably recognize that you have this low level anxiety, and you've come up with with ways and strategies to cope with this and have it not affect your life too awfully much, but it's still there. It's like always still there in the background. Think about what your life would look like if you could get rid of that just like refrigerator hum of anxiety that's always there. That's what we're talking about here. Because what your body is, what your body and your mind are adapted for essentially is this tribal situation where if you are alone, and in most of human history, if you were alone, you wouldn't survive. Being cut off from the tribe was literally a death sentence. You're gonna starve. Like people who live on the, if you try to go and like live on your own in the woods, you watch those survival shows with people that do that. They try to live on their own in the woods. If they're like a trained survival expert that's been doing this for 10 years, then they can live for like 2 months before they go crazy. And then they really need people around again. Or if they, or a lot of times these trained people, they'll slip and fall and like hurt themselves. And when they're injured, now there's absolutely nobody to take care of them. And there's nobody to look for food for them. There's nobody to get water for them. They're screwed. There's nothing they can do. That is literally a death sentence. And it has been for the vast majority of human history. So when you don't have that tribe of people, your body is naturally programmed to like ring the alarm bell, say, danger, danger, you are going to die if you don't fix this situation. So it's really, really bad for your mental health. And not surprisingly, if it's bad for your mental health, it's bad for your physical health. Everybody knows that stress is bad for you, right? But this underlying feeling of anxiety that a lot of us have come to think of as normal is absolutely not normal and is absolutely not healthy. It is actually killing you. There was a study that showed that having the health effects of not having a solid social structure around you, the effects on your physical health are equivalent to those of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Think about that for a moment. 15 cigarettes a day. How much is that going to shorten your life? How much is that going to make you more likely to get cancer or more likely to get a host of other diseases? And you're doing that to yourself by having this, by failing to create a proper social circle for yourself. And I realize that it's difficult. It's not something that comes naturally. It's not even difficult. That's the wrong word. It's unnatural. Like nobody taught us how to do this. It kind of happened naturally when we were kids, when we went to school, and then when we went to college. And for a lot of us, that was the last time that we really had a group of friends was in college. And then some of you maybe have it through work, but nowadays a lot of people are working remote and a lot of people are working from home, and now you don't even have that interaction. So it's very difficult for a lot of people to find a solid social circle. And especially if you're a successful and motivated person, you're an ambitious person. Well, most of the world is not like you, right? You're the strange one. 99% of people are perfectly happy to just work their crappy 9 to 5 and then go home and watch football and drink beer and like wake up hungover the next morning. And that's totally cool to them. Like that's what they want for their life. It's, to be fair, it's probably not what they want for their life, but it's what they have settled for. And they don't really reach for anything more, at least not actively. If you're watching this video, if you're a successful, motivated person, you are not that. You are very different than that. And so hanging around people like that they're not going to be on your level. You're not going to have the same level of connection as you would with somebody who is doing the same things as you and has similar ambitions as you. And if you try to be friends with these normies, so to speak, these people that just don't aspire to anything, then they're going to drag you down. It's not going to be good for you and your goals, right? Yeah, okay, you have friends. That's good. It's good for your mental health, perhaps. It's good that you're not smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But on the other hand, you're destroying your goals because, as they say, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, do you want to spend your time with people that are losers? Well, or normal people, let's say. I'll be nice about it. Well, so you're kind of stuck. Like, you could just hang out with the people that happen to be around you, and maybe you're lucky and you have high achieving people around you, but for most of us, we don't. We're isolated. And so we're screwing our health. We're making ourselves constantly anxious, constantly stressed. So we can do that, or we can hang out with people that are just gonna like subtly bring us down and poison our ambitions and kill our dreams. Like, pick your poison, you. It's not a very nice choice. Well, there is the third choice, which is to go out and proactively find yourself a social circle of people who are on your level, who are doing things, who have ambition, who are successful, or at least are in the process of becoming successful and are actively working towards something. I built this for myself. I realized what a massive hole this was in my life and in my quality of life, in my mental health and my physical health. And so I solved the problem. I created a system that would actually use paid ads to find people on the internet that were in the same situation as me and just like in my local area so that we could actually get together and meet up and form a solid, cohesive social circle. And that's what I have now as a result of this. And I realized that so many people have this exactly the same problem. So I decided to create this as a service for other people. So if you would like me to create a custom curated social circle that of people who meet your exact criteria that I will bring to you using paid advertising, then I'll put a link in the description below where you can check out the details on my offer there. And I will build out that entire thing for you. So I hope you found value in this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and then check out this video also. I think you'll also find it really helpful.